Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
Welcome everyone to MMA Weekly of Austin and Chef Dan. I am Austin. It's my co-host Chef Dan. How you doing tonight, Chef Dan?
Feeling a little under the weather, and I'm sick. I'm sick that there's no UFC this Saturday, man. What's going on? They do on again, off again, on again, off again. I am feeling a bit under the weather. I don't know if you can see it in my tone or hear it in my voice, but yeah, I'm also kind of disappointed that there's no UFC this weekend, but we did take some time off due to some unprecedented events going on in both of our lives, but now we're here to break down what happened in these past 3 cards. How you doing though, Austin?
Doing all right. Like Chef Dan mentioned, we haven't been on recently because unprecedented events in both of our lives. Obviously, you guys probably know I live in Florida, and the hurricane came here, Hurricane Ian, and we're fine. Like I'm pretty sure Dan mentioned the Yankee streams. Nothing too bad happened, surprisingly, which is grateful. Thankfully, we're not in the Fort Myers, Tampa area because they got hit hard. But it was, we went dry. Nothing too bad. We didn't lose powers. Everything's good. So yeah, unprecedented events happen, but hey, that's life. Sometimes you gotta, just roll with the punches, no pun intended, and everything should be clear. Although there's like tropical, like storm brewing, like in the Caribbean, but it looks like it's hitting Mexico. Hopefully it goes. Well, no offense to people in Mexico, not to be. Hopefully it doesn't hit us, but hopefully it doesn't do too much damage to Mexico. But yeah. But definitely grateful to be back here to break down in May with you guys. I did miss it, and so hopefully you feel better, Dan. Hopefully the illness goes away soon, because that sucks.
Yeah, it is what it is. You just gotta, I just gotta truck through and move on. I'm thankful that it's not something else, especially in this day and age, coming off of pandemic. But yeah. Just gotta truck through, get better, take my medication, and take better care of myself. That's it.
Most definitely, yeah. Well, let's talk about what happened 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago? It was.
Yeah, roughly 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago with Cory Sandhagen and Song Yadong, we didn't review. We weren't be able to break down that fight as Cory Sandhagen wins the fight via doctor stoppage and in the 4th round. And Cory Sandhagen. He fought a great fight. I mean, I know the first round Song Yadong came out aggressive, hit him some shots, but Sandhagen has a chin. He showed he does have a chin. He took some punches from Song Yadong, but survived and was able to weather the storm and was able to land an elbow. I believe it was a stand-up exchange. I think it was in the clinch, I believe, that cut Song Yadong. That was basically the beginning of his downfall. Was that cut over his his left eyebrow, and Sandhagen just kept attacking it, and also he kept taking Song Yadong down after going for several takedowns. At first, he wasn't successful, but he kept going it. He kept using takedowns to get Song Yadong something to think about. And he's probably been working his wrestling ever since the loss to not Dillashaw, but Peoria Young back in October. Since it was Cory's first fight in 11 months. And he used wrestling to mix it up, and he was able to do damage on top and attack Song Yadong, and able to, like I said, throw him some nice elbows, cut Song Yadong, and pick him apart. And Cory Sandhagen had a very good bounce back performance, considering he had lost 2 in a row to the top guys in the division, although the Dillashaw fight's still questionable. Great performance by Cory Sandhagen. He gets a young up-and-coming Song Yadong, who will be back considering he's only 24 and he's main eventing his first UFC event. I mean, that's pretty remarkable when you think about. What are your thoughts on this fight, Dan?
I'm not gonna lie, that first round, I didn't like it for Sandhagen, not because of the strategy, but because of how much he went after, the takedowns. It was to a point where, it started to get predictable, and that could get a little dangerous when when you're shooting a lot for takedowns and you're not a known wrestler, and it becomes predictable, because at that point you leave yourself susceptible to a flying knee coming up. And Song Yadong has the athleticism to do something like that. But thankfully for Sandhagen, he did enough of it to where his plan took into full effect. It made sure that, that was a thought in Song Yadong's, that was a thought in Song Yadong's head all throughout the night, all throughout the fight. And from there, he was able to successfully land a lot of shots that, you saw the power difference in the, landing of shots between Song Yadong and Cory Sandhagen. You, most definitely noticed that. But Cory Sandhagen was able to tally up the numbers. He was able to pop, just keep landing very accurate shots. And the doctor stoppage was nothing short of just Cory Sandhagen being an accurate striker and knowing what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Cory Sandhagen being accurate. He's known for his great striking. He was accurate. He knew what he was doing, and it was bad because the blood was starting to trickle in Song Yadong's eye, and the cuts were really bad. I think he had another cut. I could have sworn there was another one he had. No, it wasn't as bad as the one with his eyebrow, but I feel like there was another one Song Yadong got.
There may have been another one due to a clash of heads or something like that, but other than that, I know Cory cut him bad with an elbow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that he did, and that was a great performance, like I said, for Cory, showcasing his wrestling, mixing the martial arts, and getting a bounce back victory over surging rising contender in Song Yadong. And Cory Sandhagen stays in the top 5, and he's right there. Where another victory, if he gets more impressively, maybe he could get a title fight depending on who's the champ. And 135 is a lot of good deserving guys for that title. I mean, I know after the fight there was talks of maybe Chio Vera and Cory Sandhagen and title eliminator, or Cory Sandhagen and Merab Dvalishvili. I mean, either one of them's good, but I prefer the Chio fight's more exciting, but I think Chio's done enough to get a title fight in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think Cheeto's done more than enough, especially with that victory over Dominic Cruz, because it's very rare that people get a victory over Dominic Cruz, especially in the fashion that he got it. It was a finish. Dominic Cruz does not get finished.
Yeah, he hadn't been finished since Uriah Faber in their first fight back in 2007, so that's how long it's been since Cruz been finished. And Chio won 4 in a row with being a lot of top contenders. That's why part of me thinks he should fight the winner of Dillashaw and Sterling, the winner of that fight after they had their fight. That's in 2 weeks from Saturday. And I mean, for Cory, it leaves him with Merab potentially, maybe, but Merab's not going to go for the title as long as Aljamain's the champ. And Aljamain can still be champ by the end of October 20th. No, not 20th. It's the 22nd, right? October 22nd.
I believe so.
Yeah, that's the UFC 280 pay-per-view. I believe it's October 22nd. Yeah, he can still be champ, so, I mean, it's and that would be a great victory for Cory to have, but if he beats Merab, but still. kind of tricky with that whole dynamic. But either way, Cory Sandhagen does have options. Whoever, I mean, I look forward to watching Cory fight next. Whoever he fights, he's very exciting fighter.
To me, really, his options come down to two names, and it's either Marab, or really you're fighting the winner of Peter Yan and Sean O'Malley. That would be his best bet.
Good point. I forgot. That's right. It's the same cards. 280. The winner of O'Malley and Yan. Yeah, that's a good matchup. It would be a rematch, or him and Sean O'Malley considered very similar in terms of heights and like their styles and etc. Either way, he's got this fun matches for Cory Sandhagen. Like I said, doesn't matter who we fight out for watching Cory fight. Cory's definitely one of the more exciting bantamweights one of the most exciting fighters, period, in the UFC and all of MMA, not just UFC, but the entire sport when you think about it.
Oh yeah. I mean, with that being said, you want to move on to the co-main event because this one was messy to say the least.
Yes, Gregory Rodriguez RoboCop, that's his nickname, and what a great nickname. Defeating Chidi Njokuani in the second round. Chidi cut him up bad. He went to a bad cuts. Gregory Rodriguez had a brutal cut over his nose. I wish I had the picture. I didn't have it to show you guys.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Because I saw how deep it was. You saw inside, like, it. Oh my God. Boy, did that man need stitches. He's not fighting for a while either.
No.
I don't want him fighting for a while.
Yeah, it's crazy he won because that cut was nasty, Chidi Njokuani, and he also rocked him too. But he was able to rock Chidi Njokuani and took him down. Took him down a couple of times and was able to do some damage even towards the end of that first round against Chidi. Then in the beginning of the second round, I do remember Chidi did hurt him, but it really didn't do much, and he just picked apart Chidi Njokuani, able to finish him. It kind of seemed like Chidi Njokuani kind of like, I don't know if he had an adrenaline dump after seeing the cut and he had RoboCop still going, or maybe he gassed out, but it seemed like after a certain point, he wasn't really the same fighter. In like somewhere around towards the second half of that first round. I don't know, maybe the fact he got cut, the fact that he didn't put him away kind of messed with him, considering his opponent got a vicious cut and yet he couldn't put him away.
Nah, I think really what messed him up was the fact that the takedowns, because Gregory, he got like number one, he got cut with a knee trying to shoot for a takedown. So when that happened and he still went for the takedowns and he saw that that's what happened, it's like, all right, that dejected him. And then on top of that, Chidi Njokuani, even though he got up well, he kept getting taken down. He didn't have the takedown defense. He had defense to get back up, but not the defense to, not get taken down. So that's taxing on the body. And then because Gregory Rodriguez changed the fight, when he started faking for the shots, that left Chidi open, because in the beginning of the fight, Chidi had a great, pace. He had a great range, great sense of, how to keep Gregory within his range and get his shots off. But then that changed everything. I think that sequence of events changed everything.
That's a good point, all the takedowns. You're right. It was a knee going for a takedown that cut Gregory Rodriguez up, and it didn't matter. He came through and was able to get the victory. And one of the more gutsier performances probably in recent UFC history, or when you think about it.
Yep.
It has to be. I mean, what a great performance. I mean, that's definitely a performance you'll be remembering for a while. That nasty cut. I mean, yeah, that and the Song Yadong cut. I mean, there was a lot of bad cuts. I mean, some people thought the fight could have stopped earlier with Song Yadong and Sandhagen, but I think the fact that they didn't stop the Gregory Rodriguez fight in the co-main event, you couldn't really stop the Song Yadong fight early, considering you let Gregory Rodriguez continue on. So that definitely played a part in that card, and that card was known for the cuts because of that. But yeah, I mean, that was just a great performance, gutsy performance, something we're talking about for a while. And I think Gregory Rodriguez, never mind, that's someone else. For some reason I thought he was trying to fight again, but I did have to think about someone else. It wasn't him. But yeah.
I believe you're talking about Joe Pyfer.
Yes, Joe Pyfer. That's who it was, and that's the other person I want to give credit to. I want to talk about on this card. He gets the first round knockout, or Alan Amadowski via knockout in round 1. I mean, he knocked him. I mean, give credit to Joe Pyfer. He has a great performance in Contender Series. What, 3 months ago? It was recent. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it was very recent.
Yeah, and Dana White said, "Be Joe Pyfer," after everyone else in that episode Contender Series didn't have great performances. He gets signed and he delivers by getting a knockout, highlight reel knockout in his UFC debut. I mean, he's definitely making Contender Series look very well. I'm pretty sure Dana White's got to be really thrilled with him.
Yeah, I agree with that. And he was a prospect they talked up all throughout the night. And he showed it with his striking, and hopefully, he can get more performances. More performances against tougher opponents. That way, that he could showcase more of his skill set. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of Joe Pyfer.
Yeah, so am I. Joe Pyfer, definitely like to see more of him. He definitely live up to the hype or the buzz he's gotten. Any other fight? Any fight you want to mention out in this Song Yadong and Cory Sandhagen card before we move
on? Biggest upset for me happened in the prelim when Pat Sabatini lost to Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson won via ground and pound in the first round, and it was just I mean, though I didn't see Pat Sabatini losing this fight, but he lost it.
Yeah.
And Damon Jackson is a scrapper.
Exactly. Yep. I was going to say he's a scrapper, and that was definitely a big upset. Sabatini is a prospect in the rise that people were high on, that we thought was very talented, and for him to get finished in the first round, didn't see that coming. Then you find out Damon Jackson, I forget, he was having personal problems. I think something happened to his family member. I don't remember. I think they died. I could be wrong, but something happened. He was emotional during that week.
Yeah,
and that was kind of an emotional victory for him.
I do remember that he was emotional, but just like you said, I really don't remember why he, what the reason was.
It's something family related. That's why I know.
Yeah. Another fight that I want to shout out is Luma Lukbumi. She won her fight unanimous decision against Denise Gomez. This one went the distance, and it was a great fight by Luma. Great fight by Denise as well, but Luma is a scrapper. She has shown consistently that she's a scrapper, and it was a great performance by Luma Lukbumi. Is there any other fight that you want to shout out?
Nicholas Mota beating Cameron Van Camp via TKO. Considering Nicholas Mota lost to Jim Miller and he came back and bounced. I think that was his UFC debut too against Jim Miller, if I'm not mistaken. And then he came back and get a victory in opening prelims against Cameron Van Camp via finished TKO in the first round. I mean, definitely pretty bounce back victory against Cameron Van Camp, and everyone gets shot to Nicholas Mota. That's all I got. I mean, if there's nothing else like this, we can probably move on to what happened this past weekend.
Yeah, we could talk exactly about Bellator and what happened. Patricio Pitbull faced Adam Borch, the kid, and defended his
featherweight title.
Huh?
Featherweight title.
Yeah, defended the featherweight title against Adam Borch. And Patricio Pitbull won this fight via unanimous decision. And I'm not going to lie, there was nothing that Adam Borch did that fight that challenged Patricio Pitbull at all. I think other than the nice little flurry he had in the first round and in the fifth round. But other than that, he did not win a round. This was a complete shutout by Patricio Pitbull. I have nothing else to add to this fight because it was just a complete shutout.
The thing, Boris came in with that flying knee, but I didn't realize this till watching it again, that Patricio called him with a counter right, And I guess the power changed the whole complexion of the fight. You felt Pitbull's power. Pitbull, he's short, but he's got power. He's a short guy, but very powerful. And once he felt that, he kind of changed his complexion. It changed the complexion of the fight and the way Boris fought. And Patricio was able to use takedowns. Took him down 4 times, held him there. Was able to be able to work him, and Boris didn't have a lot of answers to what Patricios did. And kind of times it was kind of slow pace. And in the 4th round, though, I would say Boris started doing a lot of leg kicks, and it was working because Patricio's leg was getting bruised. And part of me was like, he went away from it. I'm like, Adam, why are you going away from that? That was working. You should have kept doing that, because then in the 5th round, Patricio been a more stationary target that he probably could have landed some shots and probably hurt, but he didn't do that and went away from the leg kicks. I know he did take Patricios down, did some work on top of him in that 5th round, but other than that, Patricio could control and dominate this fight, was able to get an easy decision. And this was, it wasn't the most exciting fight, but at the same time, he did shut down a young upcoming Adam Boris, who was on a roll going into this fight. And he defends his featherweight title, and I know Patricio's considering going down 135, considering he's not the biggest featherweight, but I mean, I wouldn't mind that. And I think some people like to see a trilogy fight between him and AJ McKee. Speaking of McKee, we can talk about the co-main event, because this co-main event was pretty damn fun to watch, between AJ McKee and Spike Carlyle in AJ McKee's lightweight debut, 155. McKee was fighting in his hometown in Long Beach, California. So the crowd was definitely inside. He came out to Regulators by Warren G and Nate Dogg, Long Beach rappers, that iconic song from the 90s. And as soon as the opening bell rang, Spike Carlyle ran at him, tried to do a flying kick, and swinging. It was just mayhem. He caught McKee, but McKee caught back. It was like a crazy, wild phone booth fight, but McKee was able to drop Spike Carlyle and take him down and just do some work on the ground, but Spike Carlyle did reverse some positions. However, when McKee's on his bottom, he did hold several elbows that cut Spike Carlyle, as you can see here in this picture. And Carlyle was pretty busted. I mean, that he had like a bad cut, and he was bleeding over the place for the rest of the fight. Even when Carlyle reversed positions got on top, even though he did land some shots on AJ drew some shots back from his bottom, kept cutting up Spike, and AJ's reverse positions go for submissions. The one thing about this fight that I noticed was that Spike Carlyle has great submission defense, because AJ kept trying to go for different submissions, and sometimes he was close, but Spike did a great job defending the submissions, whether it be rear naked chokes, etc., or guillotines. He was able to avoid the submission, but AJ was able to dominate his fight. Hurt Spike multiple times, bust him up, drop him. Even stand up, AJ was the better fighter, the better striker, and AJ got an easy decision. I mean, 30-26. In my opinion, I know some judges gave it 29-26, 30-27. One judge gave one of the rounds to AJ 10-8, and this was an exciting fight. I mean, the first round was very competitive, and Spike Carlyle's toughness and will just prevented him from being submitted and finished. I mean, let's be honest. Most guys go through what he goes through, they're probably getting finished, if you think about it. But Spike refused, and it turned out to be a pretty damn exciting fight. And that round one was fun to watch. I mean, it was exciting. What are your thoughts on this fight, Dan?
No, I agree with you 100%. This fight was exciting. The crowd was completely into it. This was AJ's hometown, so that they were cheering for the hometown kid. Made sure that they know that his presence was felt in that building. They made sure that they let Patricio Pitbull know their opinion of him, because they boy, did they boo that fight. They booed that fight.
Yeah, they were saying F you Pitbull as well.
Yeah, it was it was crazy. The crowd was really into it, and the fact that they had a hometown kid, they were able to really tap into the crowd's excitement and help them come along with the event. This fight was exciting, like you said. Spike Carlyle would not give up for anything. He just would not. He was not going down for anything. But AJ McKee was able to slowly break him down throughout each round. And though Spike came out exciting, I don't know. It felt like after that flurry, maybe it was just due to the fact of how much of a technician AJ McKee was that it made it look like Spike Carlisle possibly didn't have a plan after that flurry. But AJ really started to slowly just break him down, find where he wanted to get him, and just, take over this fight. But it was still a fun, competitive fight. But AJ McKee, man, he's a technician, and I'm excited to see more of his fights.
I am too. I mean, AJ's always been an exciting fight, but this is probably the most exciting fight of his career when you think about it. This was just crazy fun, and like Spike Carlisle, I know he had Dariush in his corner. I know some, and I'm watching this fight. I'm thinking, damn, that training with Benel's been paying off, because Benel's a good submission jiu-jitsu practitioner and got a decent amount of submissions in the UFC. I'm thinking that train's paid off, because he would not get submitted by anything AJ threw at him, and I'm thinking that's where it paid off. I mean, but AJ was definitely the better fighter. You mentioned he kind of broke Spike down as the fight kept going. And Spike had no answer for AJ. AJ's a clearly better fighter. He gets the good victory in his hometown. As you can see the image of Spike after the fight, how beat up he was. As you can see on the left, Spike getting hit with a left, and then the right slapped after the third round. Just how a bleeding mess Spike was. I mean, oof. Great fight for AJ McKee, and personally, I can see AJ stay at 155. I think 155 is a better weight class for him. Doesn't call that weight. I think he can showcase he can do what he can fight well in 155, and also if he said, there's a reports that the Bellator is trying to do the 155 tournament next. That'll be which AJ's won 145. Why not go for 2 tournament titles?
He most definitely, they teased that idea to him, and he most definitely was enticed by it. So I'm excited for that. If they can do something like that, I'm more than excited to see a fight, a tournament in 155. Sign me up for that.
I agree. Yeah, especially if we can get him and Usman to Magomedov. That'll be the dream in a tournament fight. That would be great. I mean, hopefully they said they're probably gonna do it like beginning of March of next year, so that'd be cool. But yeah, I mean, AJ definitely gotta be part of that tournament. I'm pretty sure AJ's willing to. I mean, I can't wait for if that does happen. As we can transition to the third fight we're talking about, second fight in the main card. Aaron Pico against Jeremy Kennedy. Now, Aaron Pico is from Southern California himself, not Long Beach, but Southern Cal, so he's a hometown guy as well. And this was a very unfortunate fight, bizarre and unfortunate. Aaron Pico's shoulder dislocated during a takedown. No, Aaron Pico essentially drew a left hook that missed, and that's where the shoulder dislocated. And then he was going for a takedown, and Jeremy was able to reverse position to do well, go for a submission. But Pico was able to avoid getting submitted despite having the dislocated shoulder, and him trying to put it back in place. You can see during the fight, he was more focused on that shoulder than even was with Kennedy. And Kennedy almost went for submission, and Kennedy had no idea that the shoulder until I think the ref told him about what was going on too. And Pico was there, and he was trying to put that shoulder in place. Him in his corner, you can see like pictures of his corner trying to put that shoulder back in place. And Pico with the shoulder dangling, and the doctor came in, and the doctor thought it was a broken clavicle bone. Although Aaron Pico came out and said it wasn't broken, nothing was broken in the shoulder. It was just, I think, a dislocated shoulder. That was the diagnosis. And the fight, but the doctor called off the fight, and unfortunately for Aaron Pico and Southern California crowd, Pico is not going to continue and takes the loss.
I gotta take your word for it, because I did not get to see the rest of this card.
Yeah, man, it was. I feel like you can see the image of his shoulder, like the way it looked, like when the doctors check on him. You can see that image. It was like you could tell something's wrong with the shoulder. And I know Josh Thompson took some heat, because Josh Thompson felt like the shoulder was dislocated. They should at least taken a minute break to like try to put the shoulder in place. And then if Aaron Pico can go fight, he should be allowed to go, as long as it's not life-altering damage. And I know some people didn't agree with that, but I kind of got what Josh Thompson was talking about, meaning that if you're able to go fight and still fight and put the shoulder in place, the fight should continue. but I guess the doctor felt like something was broken, although it seems it wasn't. But it's unfortunate. Although Jeremy Kennedy, give him credit, he had a good call out for Pedro Carvalho because apparently Pedro's been talking crap about him. Jeremy said, "Look, I fought someone in their backyard. I'll go Ireland, your backyard, beat you up there." Basically, in February. Thought he had a good call out. I got him credit. I know if Chael Sonnen was watching this, Chael will be happy with his call outs. Chael approved, I guarantee you that. And then the opening fight in Bellator between Juan Archuleta and Enrique Barzola in the featherweight division. Juan Archuleta had a bounce back performance considering his last fight. He did well in his last fight, but he got knocked out. He was up 2-0. Styles caught him with the head kick, knocked him out. First time he's ever been finished in his career. And he had lost 2 in a row going into this fight because the previous fight before the Styles fight, he lost the title to Sergio Pettis. And he had a great bounce back performance. Barzola did present challenges to him, especially in that first round where they were on the ground, he reversed position, was able to go for a rear naked choke and do some ground and pound. He survived that, even though he won the fight considering damage he did Barzola. Then in rounds 2 and 3, he was able to just piece up Barzola, get out of the way, and fought similar to kind of like how Dillashaw fights his training partner, where a lot of it's like striking, orthodox offensive striking, get out the way. Also mix in some wrestling as well because he has a wrestling background. And Barzola has moments, and he did well at times, and with some of the feints, some of the takedowns, but Warren Judge was just on the roll that night. He was able to get to a nice decision victory and bounce back and put himself as a tournament replacement in case one of the guys pulls out of the bantamweight tournament. He could just step right in and fight and continue the tournament in case of the pullouts. Hopefully not, but in December, obviously, the Bellator semifinals for the bantamweight tournament can take place, so he's definitely going to be fill-in for that. But good victory for Juan Archuleta, bounce back victory against a tough Enrique Barzola, who definitely has moments in this fight.
Overall, though, is there any overall? How'd you feel about the main card?
Main card, I'll give it a B+. That's because the Spike and AJ McKee fight was crazy. The first round was awesome. The Juan Archuleta and Enrique Barzola fight was pretty entertaining. It was. Unfortunately, what happened with Pico and the shoulder, and then the co-main event, you kind of forgot how good the Juan Archuleta fight was. Those two fights were good. Pitbull and Boris it wasn't the best fight in the world, but it wasn't the best fight in the world, but there were moments in this fight that I didn't mind. And then, of course, the Pico fight was very dramatic because you were watching and wondering, is the fight going to be stopped, or is Kennedy going to notice the shoulder injury and go do something to stop the fight? If Pico get his shoulder back in place, continue fighting. It was very dramatic. It made me pay attention because of the drama of what was going to happen in Pico's shoulder. That's the one thing that really got me intrigued. I gotta give the drama factor play a part. In the fight itself, Pico and Kennedy wasn't exactly the greatest, but the drama factor was like an all-time for me at 10.
So, with that being said, we can move on from that to the UFC fight night that just recently happened, but no media or any fans could be there because Mark Zuckerberg decided to buy out all the seats and close out the arena and just made sure he was just there to watch it. And hey, when you got it like that, you got it like that. What's up?
Actually, Dana White said what turned out was Ariel Horney reported that it was the UFC's decision not to have fans or media there because of Zuckerberg's presence. It was the UFC's call. It wasn't Zuckerberg. It was the UFC made that decision. Dana White told a half-truth when he said on Twitter Zuckerberg didn't rent out the place, and that's BS. He told a half-truth. He didn't explain that it was his decision, UFC's decision, which is kind of, I know it's kind of like BS. I know why Dana White did, because let's be honest, a lot of people in the MMA community who like MMA are not fans of Zuckerberg, including yours truly. And I think we know that would have been bad considering Zuckerberg is not exactly the most liked guy.
We can move on from that. Let's just move on from that. Anyways, it was a pretty good card. Zhao Nanyan versus Mackenzie Dern. Zhao Nanyan wins this fight via majority decision, and it was what, you know, the way Zhao Nanyan was supposed to win against Mackenzie Dern is the way the way she ended up winning this fight. It was a lot of striking. Mackenzie Dern tried taking her down, but it was to no avail. Zhao Nanyan was game to it, hip to it, and whenever she was taken down, she was able to get back up. But as far as in the stand-up game, Zhao Nanyan was just all the way better than Mackenzie Dern, and she just pieced her apart for 5 rounds. Mackenzie, I know she's been working on her striking, but you can't come away from what you are, which is a grappler. So now it isn't, you know, you're not more so working on your striking to be a better striker. At this point, what Mackenzie should be working on, and this is what the commentary table was speaking a lot to, I believe DC was on the call for this one. They were speaking to this one a lot, was that now she should be working on ways to mix in the grappling and the striking. Because just strictly striking with these strikers who are way better than her, it's not good. It's not good at all. What does it take on this fight?
I feel this fight was a lot closer than it was close. This fight actually, because Mackenzie won round 2 and 5, and she wasn't getting a lot of takedowns, but when she did, she was successful with them. She actually went for round 2. You can make an argument, maybe 10-8, maybe. I'm not saying it is, but it's an argument because she kind of dominated that round and went for multiple submissions against Yan Xian and was ground and pound, do some ground and pound shots, and Yan didn't really do anything of note, if I recall, or really much in that second round. And I know the 5th round Mackenzie won, was going for submissions, but that was 10-9. So I mean that's quite. I mean, 3-2 for Yan. I think it's the right call. I think Yan Xian won the fight. There's a case for a 10-8 for round 2 for Mackenzie because of Yan not doing really anything. Mackenzie really doing a lot in that second round with the grappling and some submission attempts. And one thing with Mackenzie I noticed is that she's got a decent chin because Yan hit her with some shots and Mackenzie was able to take them. So we know that she can take a punch. Also, with Mackenzie, one thing that she needs to work on is more of her wrestling. Taking girls down, because once she gets them down, she's, you know, like that's her world. Like most girls are screwed if they're grappling with her. But getting her competitors to the ground is going to be the challenge for Mackenzie, especially if she deals with women who are strong and who have decent wrestling defense, takedown defense. If she can just work on that and improve on that, she can be a much dangerous fighter and get those submission victories that she wants so badly. And also work on her striking too. You know, her striking has somewhat improved, but obviously work on that. But also work on her wrestling as well, because when she gets on the ground, these women, they're in trouble. I mean, she saw Yan Xian. I mean, Yan Xian was put some bad situations when she was on the ground with Mackenzie. So with Mackenzie, work on the wrestling, you know, takedowns, and also keep improving the striking. And for Yan Xian, what a great victory for her! This was her first main event. Yeah, her first main event, and she won. You know, she won a fight against another girl in the top 6, top 7, in Mackenzie Dern. And she's not that far from a title fight, because me and you both agree that we felt like Yan Xian got screwed by the judges against Marina Rodriguez in her last fight. So she's not that far off from a title fight. She has a great performance in her next fight. You can argue her for a title fight, regardless who's champ, whether it be Carla or Weili Zhang in November. So I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think who's beyond fight.
Does Rose have a fight?
No, she does not. I know Marina Rodriguez was trying to call her out.
I mean, if Marina gets that fight with Rose, then maybe Zhao Nanyan could fight. Because Weili's up next. The only other name left for her up there is Jessica Andrade.
Yeah, Andrade. Oh yeah, it's right, Andrade. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. If she can't get Rose, yeah, her and Andrade next. That's a good point for Jan. I like that idea. I like that. I like to see the Rose fight, but I'm not. But the Jessica Andrade fight, I'm definitely in favor of as well. Can't really go wrong for any of those fights for Jan Xian.
Yeah. With that, we can move on from that fight to the next fight on the card, co-main event: Randy Brown versus Francisco Trinaldo. Randy Brown wins this fight via unanimous decision. This went the distance, and this was a learning fight for Randy Brown. I think Randy Brown has learned about, this is something where you have to learn what it takes to fight some of these higher tier fighters. Because Francisco Trinaldo is not just some guy who, we can see he's co-main eventing for a reason. This guy, he is a fighter's fighter, and not only that, he has some great knockout power, and at any moment, if he gets on a hot streak, he could definitely be a contender. But Randy Brown definitely had to learn what it takes to fight a guy of that caliber, a guy that's that dangerous, consistently dangerous, that lets you know he is at any time could be a contender. And those guys are a different breed from the guys that you usually fight either on the prelims or even in the main event of the prelims. They're, as they say, within any game, there's levels to this. And so that's what I thought Randy Brown, this was a learning fight for him, because he tried with all the different technique that he has to try and get a highlight finish on Francisco Trinaldo, and it just wasn't going to happen because this guy he's a vet. He knows what he does. He knows what he's going to do in that octagon. And so all that, the showboating and anything of that, any fancy technique that you think, could get you a highlight finish, it's not necessary. Get to what's necessary, stick to the fundamentals, and then that from there, if you find yourself in a position where you need to throw something, then you do it. But usually in these fights with these high caliber guys, it's very rare that you get a highlight finish. A lot of these fights go to the distance because these guys really get finished amongst their peers.
Right, and you're right. This is a learning experience for Randy Brown, considering Trinaldo was dangerous, even that third round. Because I think you and I, most people agree, Trinaldo won that third round against Randy Brown. And the fact that Trinaldo was able to do that, despite getting, in my opinion, beat up the first 2 rounds, and considering Trinaldo's 44, he's not a young guy. He's a veteran. He's 44 years old. And the fact that he was able to have a close fight with Randy Brown, shows that Trinaldo's still pretty good, and also some learning experience for Randy Brown in terms of having to, always be consistent, especially against guys in the upper, who are more elite, especially as you keep climbing up the welterweight division, fight more and more talented guys in its division. You definitely have to, work on some things. You want to be a contender, a guy who maybe down the road challenge for the world title. One thing about this fight that I saw some people thinking this was a robbery that Trinaldo should have won. I don't agree with that. They're talking about the second round particularly. The problem was Trinaldo missed most of his shots in that second round. He was missing. He was aggressive, but he was just missing. Brown landed the better shots and even landed some good body shots and even stumbled Trinaldo in that second round. That was clearly a Randy Brown round if you watch carefully, considering all the shots Trinaldo missed and shots Brown landed. I don't agree with the controversy about the second round. To me, Randy Brown won his fight.
There is no controversy in that second round. Randy Brown has great defense. He has really, really great defense. He has a boxer's sense of defense as well as to knowing his space. Plus, he's a lengthy fighter. So if there's one thing those lengthy fighters are, if there's one thing I know a lengthy fighter should be able to do, is be a master of space, be a master of length and width of space, knowing, what can get to them and what can't.
Yeah, you're right. And he used his length, he used his good defense from Randy Brown in that fight. That's a good point. Never mind. I was going to ask, do you think Randy Brown Probably not. I was thinking Randy Brown had better performance. He probably would be fighting a ranked opponent his next fight, but maybe he'll fight someone that's like right near the rankings. You know what I mean? Or maybe top 50, or maybe like 15 ranked welterweight.
I mean, you just came off of a co-main event on a very, not controversial fight card, but due to, the nature of what went on outside as far as Zuckerberg and things of that nature, this is a well-known card. So, the performance had enough people talking to where Randy Brown felt he wasn't happy with the performance. He wants to put on better, and the UFC is putting him in spots to put up these better performances that he's hinting about and talking about. So, hey, there's always a chance for him to get into the ranking. It feels like the UFC is, that's a prospect they definitely want to push and be in the business of Randy Brown.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, we can move on from this fight to the next fight on the card, which was between Trayvon Jones and Ronnie Barcelios, as Ronnie Barcelios wins this fight, unanimous decision. 30-27, all three judges' scorecards. Barcelios, he just looked like the better fighter. That's what it came down to. Barcelios was 16-3 going to this fight. Trayvon Jones was 13-8, and you can see why. I mean, he was outlanding Jones on most of his fights. I mean, the UFC showed like a stat, like strikes like landed. It was like by a wide margin, Barcelios led over Jones. I wish I had this picture to show you, but it was a lot. I mean, he just dominated him for all his fights. Takedowns, ground and pound, even stand up. I mean, you can see why the records are the way they are. And Barcelios had a good performance that he was supposed to do against a guy like Trayvon Jones and just dominated him for all 3 rounds.
I have nothing to add to that. That was a dominant performance, like you said. So was this next fight we're going to talk about. But yeah, yes. This was a dominant performance.
The next fight is Sadiq Youssef against Don Chenis, as you see Youssef wins via submission, guillotine, 30 seconds. I mean, Sadiq Youssef was supposed to fight Giga Chikadze several weeks ago, but unfortunately Giga got hurt, and this was a replacement as that his fight got moved to this card, and he didn't waste no time. He took care of business. He was able to get a guillotine choke like quick, like out of nowhere, and it was tight to where
it wasn't out of nowhere. This was a statement victory. This was, he wanted to put out a statement, because for you to come out and immediately go into the clinch and deliver knee after knee after knee after knee, and when you finally know you've buckled him, then you throw the guillotine, bro.
That's what I thought was out of nowhere, because I thought maybe with knees he was going to finish him with strikes, not a submission.
Nah, I didn't think he was gonna end it with the knees, but it was one of those performances where you're just like open to whatever this performer is doing, because he's just dominant right now. It's his space. He entered on his terms, so
he protected his ranking, and he protected very well. I mean, he won dominant as you can get. There's not many ways you can be more dominant than that to get a better finish. 30 seconds against an unranked guy. Protect your ranking. I mean, obviously his next fight is going to be a ranked opponent. Maybe he'll try to go back to Giga Chikadze and Sadiq Youssef next. Try to do that one back, maybe, or maybe someone else in the top 15 or like 10, 10-8, 10-9-8 in the featherweight division. Next for Sadiq.
Nah, I mean, he took no damage. This was a dominant victory. I see no point in waiting. I see no point in prepping for another opponent. You did. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by something right now. I see no point in waiting for another opponent. You had the camp for Giga Chikadze. Giga Chikadze is now, he's on the mend. He had a camp waiting for you. He made the statement clear. He wants what he wants. He's gonna go through you know, well, I'm not saying that he's going to just walk through Giga Chikadze, but Sadiq Yusuf's mindset right now is that he is going to go through Giga Chikadze, and right after he goes through him, he is going to call out the champ. He's going to say that was his fight to get to the championship. And if not, he's going to fight one more guy, you know, or he's going to make sure that Giga Chikadze performance is the performance for everyone to pay attention to. Because after a performance like this, I don't know what else to say, brother.
I don't know either. I mean, it's a great performance. Hopefully him and Giga can run that back. And maybe if he has to wait a little bit longer, stay put in case, you know, hopefully not. Either most of Evelev or Bryce Mitchell pullouts, because they have a fight coming up in early November, like in a month from now. Hopefully not, and that's something I was going to mention towards the end of the show, as Movsar Evelev and Bryce Mitchell fight each other in the main event of the number 5 card. Good fight in the featherweight division. Maybe Sadiq Yusuf can stay put just in case one of them has to pull out. Hopefully not, but it's a smart idea if you're Sadiq Yusuf. Stay ready. I mean, he's still in shape. I mean, he took no damage at all, like you said.
It was a completely dominant victory. There's nothing else to say to that. It was a statement victory, too. Sadiq Yusuf made sure that this was a statement. Yep. He's got everyone's attention, because that was, yeah. I mean, we can move on from that fight to the next fight. Mike Davis versus Vyacheslav Borshev. Mike Davis wins this round. Mike Davis wins this fight via unanimous decision. Just went the distance. And, yeah, Mike Davis, man, he's a different breed. This was a good fight for him. This was a dominant victory as well. I thought this was a dominant victory. Vyacheslav Borshev did not, I think, in my opinion, win a round. Mike Davis completely took him out of his element, and this was a dominant victory. What do you say to this one? There was a lot of dominant victories here in this card, now that we're talking about it.
Yeah, you're right about that. There was a lot of dominant victories, and this one, unfortunately, I didn't see. I didn't see this fight, unfortunately.
But yeah, Mike Davis kind of just ragdolled Vyacheslav Borshev. It took him down whenever he wanted to. A lot of ground and pound, but then the striking game as well too. But because he was able to mix in the grappling, Vyacheslav was not, you know, he's not he's not good at defending the grappling. So Mike Davis knew the combination to that lock. But yeah, that's it for the main. That's it for the main card. Is there any fight on the prelims that you want to shout out?
I want to shout Brendan Allen for getting victory over Kristosov. I always have to time his first name.
Jocko.
His first name always gives me troubles.
It's Christoph.
Christoph. No, the Z confuses me. That's why the Christoph first name. But Christoph Jocko. I mean, Brendan Allen, give him credit for getting a submission victory. I mean, you continue to pile on submission victories. Look at Brendan Allen's career. He's got a decent amount of submissions, and he gets another one. Brendan Allen's a very good grappler. I mean, if you go on the ground with him, you gotta watch out because he can submit you. He proved it again. I mean, that just shows how talented Brendan Allen is with grappling as a middleweight prospect. I mean, he's not far from the rankings when you think about it.
Yeah. A fight that I want to highlight. Joaquim Silva versus Jesse Ronson. This ended in the second round via flying knee and punches. Man, talk about wanting to get that bonus. Joaquim Silva made sure to put on the show in front of Dana White and Mark Zuckerberg that night. Any other fight for you?
I want to shout out Leo Latifi for getting Victor Olenek, which I did not expect. I thought Olenek was going to submit him, beat him.
Yeah.
That surprised me. I'm not going to lie. I'm surprised. I honestly thought Olenek was going to submit him somehow and continue on submitting dudes, but Latifi dominated. He won all 3 rounds. I'm very surprised.
I'm very surprised too, because it was the way it happened. It was a slow kill. It was death by 1,000 cuts. That's what it was. The striking, he didn't throw a lot of punches that had a lot of pop to knock out Oleinik. But then when he took Oleinik down, you know, knowing Oleinik is comfortable on the ground, he made sure to just keep him on the bottom and just did enough to be busy to make sure Oleinik couldn't get any, you know, submissions up. And a lot of ground and pound, a lot of just, yeah, you're absolutely right. This is a surprising fight.
Yeah, man, this is probably the most surprising fight in the whole card for me. I think it was this. Probably the whole weekend in terms of who won. In terms of surprising winners, probably this fight of Bellator, and UFC. This result was the most surprising for me, minus the Pico injury. But yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But other than that, you said you broke the news that Bryce Mitchell is fighting Mosar Ivalov. Is there any other news you want to talk about?
There is no. I think we talked about it. Calvin Kattar and Arm Allen. They're fighting October 29th. I think we talked about it, right? Or no, we didn't.
No.
We never.
No, matter of fact, we did, because we did mention how Calvin Kattar was robbed.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
There is some non-MMA news I want to talk about, but as far as boxing, because the Queen had passed away, they moved the boxing card of Shields and Marshall, so now it's on October 15th. I'm excited to watch that. I'm going to watch that along with, there's another fight happening. Is it October 15th? Yes, October 15th. Deontay Wilder returns to the ring. He fights Robert Helenius. So I'm excited to see that. Wilder is back, man. The Bronx Bomber.
Oh, it's not October? Oh, that's
Bronx
quick.
Bomber. Yep.
Oh wow, that's pretty quick. Damn, I didn't know that. Damn, I thought maybe like you see his return. I thought maybe like November, December, but I mean, quick turnaround. Well, not quick turnaround, but like quick. The fight from the announcement is pretty quick to me, unless it was announced before that I just didn't notice. But either way, Wilder's back. That's good for him and good for boxing to have him back from that weight division. You're muted. Daniel, I think you're muted.
Yeah, I had to blow my nose, sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, I think they're talking about if he gets this victory, they're going to set up him and Andy Ruiz. So I'm excited for that. The return of Deontay Wilder, man.
I like that. That's good. Dang, I had MMA news. Oh yeah, Dana Rodriguez is making a quick turnaround. He's fighting the next UFC card against Neil Magny. Guess he wants to, erase that memory of what happened with him and the Leech. He got a gifted decision victory over the Leech. Now
he was gifted a decision. Yeah, you're absolutely right in that. Yep.
Yeah, now he's fighting Neil Magny. That's the tough fight. It's different. Now it's Neil Magny's a good grappler. Now it's gonna be a lot of grappling. He's got to deal with more so than striking, whereas Leech is known for striking rather than grappling. So it'd be interesting to see what he does. Rodriguez, how he can handle Neil Magny if he can get a victory over him and do his grappling. I mean, if he can beat Neil Magny, that shows that he's a top welterweight. That'd be a good victory for him, and it helps that card, the next UFC card, because it was kind of like, it now looks like it kind of helps it because it was kind of like okay, but now it makes it like a solid UFC card.
Yeah.
The card before UFC 280, the big event that we're just. Us MMA fans, we're just waiting for that card. I mean, it's like the Super Bowl of MMA this year, UFC 280. I mean, we'll talk more about it obviously the week of, but it's like it's so close. They've been talking about this for like the past 2 months, and now we're like 2 weeks away. It just hit them. It just hit me. Like, damn, we're almost here.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Also, I want to talk about. Oh yeah, it's official. We all knew this was happening, but they made it official. Just January in Brazil. Moreno Figueiredo 4 in Brazil.
Oh yeah. In Brazil? Oh yeah. Wow. Ooh. That media week is gonna be hectic. Yeah, I can't wait for those videos.
Yeah, and also November 19th, Saturday, November 19th, the main event in that card is Derek Lewis against Sergey Spivak. That's the main event of that UFC fight night. So Derek Lewis is returning against Sergey Spivak at November 19th. So they're running that one back. It was Spivak, right? Or was it Pavlovich that Lewis fought? That was controversial. Who was it that Lewis
I think it was
fought?
Spivak.
Let me check right now.
Yes, it was Spivak. No, they both fought recently.
Yeah, they
But
both
Spivak
did.
for earlier in the year. Pavlovich fought recently.
Yes. It was the July. It was the Nunez Pena card. Let me check right now. Give me one moment. It was Pavlovich who fought Lewis. That's who it was. Sergey Pavlovich, not Spivak.
Yeah.
Spivak did fight recently though. He won against Augusto Sakai.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so that's your main event for November 19th. A heavyweight fight. Two heavyweights going at each other. It'll be interesting to see where Derek Lewis is at this point in his career, and also where Spivak is. And then for December 3rd in Orlando, a fight got made for that card was Rafael Dos Anjos against Brian Barberena. RDA is going back to welterweight, taking on a fun fight, Brian Barberena. That's exciting. I mean, I like that fight. It's a good fight. RDA fights tough guys. Although Brian Barberena is probably he won't be as tough as some of the guys he fought at welterweight. I mean, he fought Kobe, Usman, he fought Robbie Lawler, he fought Leon Edwards, RDA I'm talking about, and he fought he also fought Kevin Lee at welterweight. So I mean, Brian's still dangerous. I mean, Brian's coming off. I think he's on a 3-fight win streak, but this could be still a dangerous fight for RDA, but it's a better matchup than fighting Rafael Fiziev.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, go ahead.
And anything else? I'm trying to see anything else with that.
I think one last thing I want to talk about is because it's been official now. Dana White made a statement about it. Kevin Holland officially retired.
I'm shocked. That's right. I'm surprised. He's only 28, 29. Yeah, he lost to Hamzat, but he didn't take damage. I mean, I don't know. I don't know his situation. Like, I don't know. Maybe I know he has a farm. I don't know if he makes money in other ventures, or maybe the UFC's not paying him his worth. I don't know what's going on.
No, because when they redid the contract for him to fight Hamzat, apparently it was a contract that made him very, very happy. So I think he's he's just hanging it up off of that. Dana White said he feels it's too soon for him to leave, and he's not he's not dismissing the possibility of a return, but yeah, it's official. He's retired.
That surprised me. I mean, I think he'll come back. A lot of these guys, when they retire in combat sports, they tend to come back. Sometimes they shouldn't.
Especially right now, like he's near the prime of his life. He hasn't even hit the prime of his life.
He's 28, like 28, 29.
He's 28. The prime is 30. So, I mean, hey, if he takes some time off, and while he's taking some time off, he happens to train on some things like grappling and things of that nature, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, exactly. Work on his grappling. I mean, he can work on that and take down defense. I mean, make him a much better fighter if he comes back, which I think he will. I definitely think he'll come back. Oh yeah, speaking of guys coming out of retirement, that's right. This big fight. This is not UFC, but MMA. PFL. Marmor Rice is coming back. He got released from the UFC and turned PFL. Now he's fighting Shane Burgos in December.
Yep.
For PFL, which that's a bad matchup for. Marlon's been knocked out his last 4 fights, and Shane Burgos hits hard. I mean, we know Shane Burgos can knock dudes out, and you're going against him at featherweights. I mean, it's kind of crazy that he's coming back against Shane Burgos of all people. That's all you gotta say.
because I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of tempted to watch it, but now that you're talking about it, I'm thinking like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Marlon Moraes, his chin has been suspect for a while, and Shane Burgos is a striker. He is a striker. That's it.
Well, one thing I think that actually there's one thing Marlon can win this fight because Shane Burgos in his previous fights, even in the third round, granted he may have a broken hand in the third round in Shane's last fight against Billy Quarantino back in July. Shane is hittable, and Shane is very hittable.
His last fight was Quarantino or was it Jordan?
Oh, Jordan, my bad. It was Jordan, my bad. You're right, it was Jordan. Quarantino was November. You're right, it was Jordan. Thank you for reminding me of that. But Shane Burgos, hang on, give me one.
He did lose that third round against Charles Jordan due to striking. So you're absolutely right. He may have had a compromised hand. It may have been broken. But I mean, if the hand is healed and he feels comfortable enough to be setting up a fight against Marlon Moraes, I don't see a reason for him to not want to strike with Marlon Moraes. I mean, Marlon Moraes does have a lot of power, and he's a striker himself. I know Shane Burgos has also been very, very interested in taking people down a lot, and he's been exploring his grappling. But I mean, to say that he shouldn't strike with Marlon Moraes just because he lost that last round against Charles Jordan, I don't know.
No, it's that he's been susceptible to getting hit a lot. He's gotten hit a lot in his career. Now, Edson Barboza and Calvin Kattar, other fights, Emmett, he's been hit. He does get hit a lot, and against Marlon, who's got a lot of power. He's a powerful guy, and I mean, he's definitely got highlight reel knockouts himself. Marlon, that could be trouble, especially in that early stages. And also, that's what I'm saying, is that even though I think Marlon will lose, there's a chance Marlon could finish Shane Burgos early on and really damage him. Especially, I would not be surprised, although I do think Shane probably wins. But like I said, that's in December, but it's a weird fight for PFL, but I think I know why they're doing it. I think it's that they want at least one of these guys to win, instead of having both guys fight someone else and then lose in their debut. Have one of them win, so that way, I guess, if one of them does lose later on, it's not going to be as bad for them.
I think, it's also just a way to attract more eyes to a way to attract way more eyes to the league itself. Those are two known names, especially Shane Burgos. He's a name that, they just recently, if Dana White's saying they messed up in not retaining him, that sounds like that's a guy that they, that everyone's going to be interested in watching. And who better than him and Marlon Moraes, two known names to help get the name of the league some notoriety and get them some eyes on the fight. But all in all, man, I talking about it, I lost my interest. Now I'm back into my interest. I'm looking forward to this fight a little. I'm hoping that I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it because it's a bit of a toss-up. Now that you've talked me into it, it's a bit of a toss-up. I'm excited for it.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, we can't. December we'll talk about it when it comes out of the PFL. We'll definitely talk about that fight because that is a big fight for the PFL. Looking forward to that. And speaking of retirements, we haven't talked about him. He retired a couple of weeks ago officially, but we haven't talked about Jose Aldo's retirement. I mean, this guy's a legend.
Yeah, we didn't know. We did talk about it. We didn't believe it, but if it was true, we did definitely say our good words about Jose Aldo, and wouldn't mind repeating them again. Jose Aldo, he's a champion. He's a champion's champion, and his legacy is cemented. There's no debate about the legacy of Jose Aldo, the king of Rio, rightfully so.
Exactly. All-time great fight, a top 10 MMA fighter of all time, easily. This guy we did in WEC and UFC back when there was no 145 in the UFC. WEC is where the best 145s were at. We did there, and then when the UFC absorbed the WEC into their company and put the 145 division, dominated. was able to have great performances. Where he against Cub Swanson with an 8-second knockout in WEC, destroying Mike Brown, who's coming off of Uriah Faber victories, beating up Uriah Faber badly, where his legs were all bruised up. You ever seen the pictures of the aftermath? How bad all those leg kicks did to Uriah Faber. The more common fight, Chad Mendes' first fight, where the knee knockout, the fight against Carl Lamas, and then the second Mendes fight, and even after Conor McGregor lost, in fact, he continued being a top contender despite losing in one of the worst ways to lose possible against a rival Conor McGregor. He came back and still was a contender, and still had great victories over Jeremy Stephens and Norman Canio, then dropping down and defeating guys like Gio Vera and Pedro Munoz and Rob Font and beating Frankie Edgar twice as well in featherweight. Forgot to mention that. And and challenging for a title 135. And it just shows it's incredible all those able to do 2 different weight classes. And as he got older, even though he's not an old guy, but he's been fighting for a while. Just tip your hat to one of the all-time great fighters in MMA history. A legend who will be missed. I mean, congratulations on your career. Happy retirement to you, Jose Aldo.
Most definitely. I agree with that 100%. But with that being said, is there anything else you would like to discuss before we get out of here?
Yes. This weekend, it's not MMA, but it's combat sports related. Glory Kickboxing is having an event this weekend and features Alistair Overeem, MMA legend, going against an old rival in kickboxing, Badr Hari. The third fight between him and Badr Hari. Alistair Overeem back in 2008 scored the upset victory in kickboxing, upset knockout over Badr Hari in 2008 K1 Grand Prix. Then the next year in the K1 Grand Prix, Badr Hari turned the favor and finished him in the K1 World Grand Prix. And then their paths never crossed again. So now this is the third fight between these two guys. So I guess it's a rubber match, 13 years later after their second fight. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen with these two. It's exciting, especially if you watch those fights. I've watched the highlight and I've watched the fights, and they were both great knockouts. So if you like kickboxing, definitely fight check out Badr Hari and Alistair Overeem 3.
Most definitely. With no UFC this weekend, I might as well check it out.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, can't wait to see, and that's all I got.
Yep. From myself, Chef Dan, I want to say thank you guys so much for joining us, whether that be on YouTube or on any of the podcast platforms, whether that be Google, Apple, Spotify, Streamer, wherever you're getting us, Stitch. Thank you guys so much for supporting us and joining us. Austin, any last words?
Thank you guys for watching and listening to us on a video and audio platforms. We appreciate love, support. Thank you guys, and like I said, we're back, and thank you guys for supporting us and supporting the channel as well, where it be do Yankee content, Nick content. I know Nick's coming back soon, so that's exciting for you and for the dad and all Nick fans. Yankee content and MMA and pro wrestling, all the content on this channel. Appreciate love, support. Thank you guys for watching us.
Wait, one last thing. Kathy, thank you so much for updating us. While the Jedi is over at NXT, 62 for 99. Judge got it.
Yeah, every judge got it.
Congratulations to Aaron Judge.
That's cool, but damn, my dad got unlucky. He didn't see it cut. He saw 61. Well, now he did. The hurt when he hit 61, the hurricane was happening, and he was checking.
Wow! So he missed 61 and 62. Well, hopefully he will get to watch 63.
Okay. Either way, but anyway, congrats to Aaron Judge, and that's congrats to him for breaking the American League home run record.
Yep.
Either way, I was gonna bring up. Thank you guys for love, support. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back next week to preview the next UFC show. Alexa Grasso against Vivian Araujo, which is good card, solid card. We'll break it down next week, and then of course after that, the big event we've been waiting for, UFC 280. Can't wait. Yep. You hear how excited I am. This is gonna be a fantastic card. We'll break it down when we get there. Can't wait. And I'm Austin, Chef Dan, unless you have anything else to say.
Peace.
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!